All right, welcome back to Daybreak on this 22nd day of June 2020. It's now 14 minutes to 7 o'clock and it's time to speak to Chief Administrative Secretary at the Foreign Affairs Ministry. But before we do so, let's take a look at what just happened last week on Thursday when Kenya was elected to the United Nations Security Council. I want just to take you through what constitutes, or the countries that constitute the United Nations Security Council. If you can have the slides up to look at. First of all, there are some permanent members. You have the United States of America, United Kingdom, there's France, Russia, and China. Those are the permanent five who have veto powers. Then the United Nations Security Council has 10 non-permanent members, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I hope I got that correct. There's Estonia, there's Tunisia, Niger, and then there's Vietnam. And then there are some 5 non-permanent members that are leaving the seat come December. That is Belgium, Germany, South Africa, Indonesia, and the Dominican Republic. And once their term expires in December, then 5 countries will join come January 2021, and that's where Kenya falls in. If we can take a look at that, because there are those 5 countries that will be joining that, including Kenya, there's India, there's Norway. So that's where Kenya will be joining that United Nations Security Council. Just want us to speak to Babu Namwamba, the Chief Administrative Secretary. He's still setting up something at the back there. Good morning, Honorable, and congratulations for what just happened. What is your first response to now the new turn of events that Kenya will be joining the United Nations Security Council come January 2021?
First of all, Sam, good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm currently in self-isolation, having just come from Burundi to witness the swearing-in ceremony of President Evariste.
Right.
And so have this technology that nonetheless we can still engage. Now, the first thing really, I want to send out a very strong congratulatory message to us as Kenya. To all the people of this country, because this is about Kenya. This is about us as a nation. And it's time for us really to celebrate this, because this is a big, big vote of confidence by the global community of nations. So congratulations, Kenya. Congratulations, our President Uhuru Kenyatta, who, as our diplomat number 1, really led this whole process from the front. So pongezi sana wa Kenya.
But now, Honorable Babu, of course, Kenyans, you remember that we had not met the threshold at the first round of voting. What just happened? Because we had heard of the campaigns running into, I think, about 2 or so years. Why weren't you able to convince a majority, a 2/3 majority from the first round?
Sam, I want to tell you that, as you are well aware, I have a political history. I have a political background. I have run and won elections as a student leader in parliament and political parties. But I can tell you that these global politics, the politics of the world, is a completely different kettle of fish. It's nothing like I've ever seen in my political experience. And this campaign was quite unusual in the sense that it challenged what has come to be known in multilateralism, or in the world of diplomacy, as regional consensus. Remember, Kenya first expressed interest to be on the Security Council for the year 2013-2014. But because of regional consensus, we conceded to Rwanda.
Right.
We again expressed interest for the period 2017-2018. And again, because of regional consensus, we conceded to Ethiopia. And the consensus was that our year would then be 2021, 2022. That would be our period. And so it came as a good gesture, really, when the African Union, on the 21st of August last year, 2019, endorsed Kenya as the African candidate for the period 2021-2022. But then, surprise, surprise, breaking with tradition and going against this grain of the well-established multilateral principle of regional consensus, Djibouti, who actually had congratulated us on the 21st of August when the AU endorsed Kenya,
right,
put their hat into the ring. And so a process that should have been straightforward became hotly contested. And as you know, in global politics, it's not just about two countries contesting. It's about interests.
right.
It's about global political or geopolitical tectonic plates shifting from place to place. And so it became a very, very heated campaign. And I can assure you, Sam, when the full details of this process come to light,
Right.
you will know that Kenya deployed our full retinue, our full arsenal of diplomatic nous. And I can tell you without any fear of contradiction, and Kenyans should know this, that you have a formidable foreign affairs capabilities.
But Honorable Ababu, so many Kenyans are used to campaigns here in the country and we know how they go. So when you're campaigning and trying to convince your peers, the rest of the more than 190 countries, how exactly is the campaign like? Are you giving goodies or is it just talk?
There are no goodies really. This is about deploying the tools of diplomatic engagement. This is about deploying the full retinue or the full complement of your capabilities, of your pedigree, of your heritage. And in this respect, we need to be reminded who Kenya is. Because you say, what were we selling to the world? What were we projecting to the world? We were projecting the world who we are. And Sam, who are we? Kenya, I would describe Kenya very, very briefly in terms of the global scene as your quintessential interlocutor for peace and security and stability. Right. That is principally who we are. We are one country that has never hidden, one country that has always been available when it comes to supporting the world, assisting the world as far as peace and stability are concerned. That's why you have seen Kenya in East Timor, you have seen Kenya in Liberia, you have seen Kenya in Sierra Leone, South Sudan, Somalia today. So we are well known. We have a pedigree as your quintessential interlocutor for peace and stability. We deployed that pedigree to very good effect. Kenya has also really been very good in terms of being at the table on key regional and global issues. You would know, for instance, that on the subject of climate change, on the subject of the environment, which is really crucial for us because we are also the only host to a UN agency in the global south, being the home to UNEP and Habitat. And reflecting that responsibility, Kenya has done very well in terms of contributing to the agenda of the climate change and the environment. And then the SDGs. You would want to know that some of our top diplomats through time, like our current principal secretary at the ministry, Macharia Kamau, is really a career diplomat that has made a considerable contribution to this agenda while he served in New York. But
Honorable Babu, let me cut you short because yes, Kenya will be joining that Security Council come January, but there are those people that feel the concern that despite Kenya and some African countries sitting at the council, of course we know the composition of that, the 5 permanent members who have veto powers. I mean, what significance does Kenya bring on board, yet all the decisions that are agreed upon, one single country from the permanent 5 can actually veto them?
Some. First of all, the presence of Kenya at this global high table, because really, this is the sanctum of the UN as an organization. This is where the big decisions are made, especially on peace and security.
Right.
This is the elite club of the UN. The mere presence of Kenya there in itself is a huge statement in terms of the brand that Kenya is. This is a statement of a vote of confidence. But besides that, Kenya has an opportunity to really push its agenda and the agenda of the region, the agenda of Africa, the agenda of the world at this very high level. Mm-hmm. Remember, Sam, we came to this campaign on the back of what we call our 10-point agenda. And this agenda is really going to inform our interaction in the Security Council. This agenda includes countering terrorism and prevention of extremism. It includes looking at the empowerment of young people. Remember, President Uhuru Kenyatta is the UNICEF global champion for young people. Now he has an opportunity to push this agenda for young people right within the sanctum of the UN, building bridges of solidarity and cooperation across the world. We have an agenda, Sam. It's a very solid agenda. Mm-hmm. It's agenda for Africa. It's agenda for the world. And let me assure you, we have no intention of simply sitting in the Security Council to add up the numbers. We are going to the Security Council to deploy the full retinue, the full complement of our pedigree, our experience, and this solid agenda that we have. That I can assure you.
Of course, there are several other African countries that have sat there, including Rwanda, our neighbor. And still, I ask you, what reforms will you be seeking? Because there has been concerns, especially from critics of the United Nations Security Council, and that feeling of 5 permanent members making decisions for the larger majority. Because the 5 countries comprise of some 2 billion people in population. That's about 30% for the world population. So what do you think needs to be done 75 years down the line of the United Nations existence?
Sam, first of all, I want to agree with you that there are certain realities, there are certain geopolitical realities that we cannot run away from, that we cannot hide away from. One of those realities is the complexion or the construction or the architecture of the UN as it is today. And that architecture gives you the 5 permanent members of the Security Council with veto power. And of course, that is part of the reality of the UN. But I can assure you that consensus still plays a critical role in decision-making at the UN. And I have had occasion to sit in that room of the Security Council on behalf of Kenya during the UN General Assembly last year. I can assure you that there is conversation that goes on around that table. It is a round table, by the way. It's a round table like King Arthur's round table. And there is a lot of conversation. I have sat there, for instance, and listened to the Bolivian president deliver his speech there. I have sat there and listened to South Africa deliver their remarks there. And I have seen consensus being developed around that roundtable in the UN Security Council room. I believe that Africa has a substantive role to play in the Security Council. And we go in also at a time when the conversation about UN reforms is picking pace.
Right.
Kenya has been at the heart of this conversation. In fact, we are a member of the C10, the Committee of 10 of the African Union, that is driving the agenda of reforming the UN so that the UN can be more reflective of present-day global realities, including demographics, including the structure of the world that we live in today. And so you can be assured that together with the rest of the council, because you can't do this on your own, diplomacy is about building consensus. Diplomacy is about moving together as much as you can. Kenya is going to be at the heart of building consensus around this agenda of reforms so that the UN can be more reflective of the realities of the world we live in today.
All right, as you wind up, so now come January, what should we be expecting? Is it just Kenya's representative at the UN just attending that meeting, or what are the ceremonies that we should expect to see?
The UN has got its culture, it has got its heritage. There's going to be a process of formally taking over and bringing in. We are coming in to replace South Africa, which is concluding its 2-year stint. And so there are going to be processes behind the scenes. And of course, our president, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, is going to be leading us all through this process. and the country will be informed at every stage in terms of how we proceed all the way to the round table room at the UN headquarters in New York. But Sam, before you go, please just allow me to acknowledge the whole team that has been part of this incredible journey.
Right.
And I've already mentioned the president. The president led us superbly well. And the Kenyans need to know that you have a president who, when we were hit by COVID and we had to switch from physical engagement and diplomatic, what you may want to call diplomatic runaround from capital to capital, we then shifted to technology, webinars, Zoom, Skype, and all this. And our president shifted so seamlessly. And he has been able to really lead us very well. And our team at MFA, our Cabinet Secretary Rachel Mamo, Principal Secretary Masharia Kamau, and our Special Envoy Ambassador Tom Amolo. The whole team has done an incredible job with all our ambassadors and high commissioners across the length and breadth of the Republic. Ultimately, Sam, this was a program of the government of the Republic of Kenya. It was a collective effort, and we are so thankful that we were able to deliver for our country, for our flag.
Well, finally, it's a successful campaign, but there are those that say that some of our neighbors did not vote for us. Is that so?
Some. We won.
Yeah,
we won. We won.
Yes, you did, but I'd imagine that you'd want to convince even your closest neighbor. Why didn't they vote for us?
I can tell you for sure, Sam, that we moved very well with our closest neighbors. We moved very well with we had endorsement of the East African community, which is our immediate neighborhood. We had support from within IGAD, from within the African Union. But you also need to know that in any campaign, countries have their right to make choices. So countries made choices. Djibouti, for instance, our very worthy rival, made a choice to go for it. And we know that this was rivalry. Maturity entails in drawing a distinction between rivalry and enmity. This was a rivalry between two friendly, brotherly neighbors. We do so much with Djibouti within the IGAD, within the African setting. We'll continue to do a lot together. And even the agenda Djibouti had, we would love to carry it along and integrate it in the broad agenda we have for Africa, for the world, at the UN Security Council. So yaliyopita si ndwele. Sasa tugange yajayo, we move forward together.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Honorable Babu Namwamba. He's the Chief Administrative Secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And once again, congratulations as Kenya joins the United Nations High Table, as you call it, in January 2021. So we now take a short break. On our return, we'll be looking at the latest in the COVID-19 numbers, as well as speaking to the Cabinet Secretary in charge of public service, that is Professor Margaret Kobia. She'll be speaking to us about the United Nations Day of the Public Service, which is supposed to be commemorated tomorrow. We'll be looking at the impact of COVID-19 in how service is being delivered in the public sector. We're back shortly.